Welcome to the vintage shadows, where the past never rests, and forgotten horrors come back to life. Tonight, we open a door to a tale that has been buried in the silence and shadows of history for ages. A story that will chill your soul and linger long after the final word. So, dim the lights, brace yourself, and step into the haunting world of the vintage shadows.
The story begins in a time long past, within the rolling hills and sprawling fields of ancient India. A humble farmer and his wife led a quiet, contented life. They spent their days tilling the land and their nights under the soft light of the stars, basking in the peace of each other's company. Their lives were modest, yet filled with happiness, as they embraced each day with gratitude and hope. One fateful night, under the cover of a new moon, the farmer's wife gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She was no ordinary child. From the very moment of her birth, an ethereal aura surrounded her. Her mere presence seemed to calm the wind, and her cry was like a haunting lullaby that echoed through the night. Her serene and enchanting aura captivated everyone who met her. Overjoyed, the family named her Nilavanti. The family rejoiced, as Neelavanthi was everything they had wished for. But a dark twist soon shattered their happiness. When she was only 5 years old, Neelavanthi's mother tragically passed away, leaving her father as her sole guardian. He loved her deeply, caring for her with a fierce devotion, guarding her as one would a rare flower. Nilavanthi blossomed into a lively, spirited child. Her laughter echoed through their modest home, lifting her father's spirit even on the darkest days. She had a rare gift for bringing joy wherever she went, but something set her apart from the other children. While her peers laughed and played together, Nilavanthi seemed to find companionship in unexpected places. She would sit for hours, talking softly to the ants scurrying along the path, the dogs that guarded their home, and even the bullocks that toiled beside her father. Her father watched her with a mixture of wonder and concern, sometimes smiling at her innocence, other times wondering if something far more mysterious lay within her. In the quiet of the night, Nilavanthi's dreams became strange and unsettling. She spoke of shadowed figures, ghostly apparitions and dark spirits that whispered secrets to her, revealing the locations of hidden treasures buried deep in the earth. But Nilavanthi's heart was as pure as a clear stream. She dismissed these visions with a childlike innocence, never tempted to seek out the riches they promised. She was content with the life she knew. Her father dismissed her stories as the fanciful imaginings of a young girl, assuming she would grow out of it as the years passed. But was that truly the case? Years passed, and Nilavanthi blossomed into a young woman of unmatched beauty. No one in the nearby villages could rival her charm. Her grace, elegance, and the gentle way she spoke captivated all who met her, drawing people to her wherever she went. Despite this admiration, Nilavanthi still found her greatest comfort in the solitude of the dark forest, where she would speak with wild animals and, astonishingly, even the trees. In time, she discovered she possessed supernatural abilities that allowed her to communicate with all forms of life, and she found solace in these conversations, especially with the birds, trees, and animals that shared her world. This communion with nature was calming and deeply fulfilling for her. When she turned 21, however, her gift took on a darker edge. The ghostly figures she once saw only in dreams began appearing to her in waking life, speaking to her in hushed, eerie tones. From these spirits, Nilavanti learned an unsettling truth. She was not an ordinary human. Instead, she was a Yakshini, a powerful, divine entity from another realm, cursed to live in a human form. Nilavanti shared this revelation with her father, her heart heavy yet hopeful. Her voice trembled as she spoke, uncertain of how he would react. To her relief, her father, wise and understanding, took her hands in his eyes full of love and acceptance.
If this is your path, if this is where your heart belongs, then I will not hold you back,
he told her softly. His words, filled with love yet tinged with sadness, were like a blessing and a farewell all at once.
Go, my child, find your world, your true home, and be at peace. You deserve happiness, even if it takes you far from me.
With a bittersweet ache in her heart, Nilavanti left the warmth of her father's embrace and ventured into the forest, where she began her search for the realm that felt like home. Days passed, each one bringing her deeper into the mysteries of the wild, her heart both yearning and burdened with the memories she was leaving behind. Then, one moonlit night, as she sat by the river, the ghostly figures she had seen in her dreams appeared again, moving toward her in a silent procession. Their spectral forms seemed almost gentle, carrying with them an ancient knowledge, a message only she could understand. They whispered of a town far away, some 35 miles from where she stood, where a hidden path might connect her to her lost realm. Her heart raced as she absorbed their words, a mixture of hope and longing surging through her. She knew the journey ahead would be long and uncertain, yet within her burned the desire to discover her true self, even if it meant leaving behind all that she loved. With her father's blessing echoing in her mind, she prepared herself for the journey, stepping into the unknown with both fear and anticipation, ready to find the world that awaited her beyond the veil. The same night, while Nilavanti was wandering through the dark forest, conversing with her friends, the wild animals and birds, she suddenly heard a loud scream piercing through the forest. She quickly hid behind some bushes and cautiously peeked out to see what was happening. Through the dense foliage, she spotted a young man running frantically, his face pale with fear. Behind him, a group of bandits were in hot pursuit, eager to rob him and his belongings. The man, somehow managing to escape their sight, slipped behind the thick trunk of a large, dark tree to hide. The bandits searched relentlessly, determined to find and kill him, seizing whatever money or valuables he carried. But after an exhaustive search, they grew frustrated and eventually gave up, retreating into the depths of the forest. Nilavanti observed all of this from distant. her heart pounding with tension. Once the bandits had left, Nilavanti decided to check on the young man. She stepped out from her hiding place and cautiously made her way to where she had last seen him. When she arrived, she found him lying unconscious, his body battered and exhausted. Being compassionate by nature, Nilavanti knew she had to help him. With effort, she managed to carry him back to her home. Taking care of his wounds and hoping for his swift recovery. A few days later, the man regained consciousness, finding himself in an unfamiliar place. Panic washed over him as he recalled the harrowing ordeal. Just then, Nilavanti entered the room, calming him with gentle words. She explained how she had seen him fleeing from the bandits and had brought him to safety. His tense expression softened, and he took a deep breath, relieved by her kindness. Curious about the events that had led to his predicament, Nilavanti asked him what had happened and who he was. The man, now more at ease, began to recount his story.
I live in a village about 35 miles from here. I am a merchant, and my work takes me across different countries and territories. On that particular night, I was returning home with my cart, feeling quite pleased after a successful trip. But I hadn't realized how dangerous it would be to travel so late at night. The road through the forest is notorious for bandits who prey on travelers. As I was journeying, these bandits intercepted my cart, intending to kill me and take all the earnings I had made from my business. I managed to escape somehow, running a great distance before collapsing by a tree. After that, I don't remember anything until I woke up here.
Hearing his story, Nilavanti realized that he came from the very town she planned to visit in search of her path back to her world. Nilavanti, moved by his terror and vulnerability, placed a gentle hand on his arm.
"You're safe now,"
she said softly, her voice like a balm to his shaken spirit. Hearing her reassurance, he let out a shaky breath, the tension slowly leaving his body. But as he looked at her, he couldn't help but be captivated by her. This woman who had saved him was beyond beautiful. Her compassion, her otherworldly grace, made him feel as if he were in the presence of a divine being. A surge of emotion took hold of him, and almost involuntarily, he confessed his love, offering his heart to her in a marriage proposal. Nilavanti hesitated, her heart stirring with conflicting emotions.
Could I truly accept this mortal's love, even as I search for my way back to my realm?
She wondered. But then she thought,
I must go to his town regardless. Perhaps marrying him will allow me to continue my search while giving me shelter and a partner in this world.
After a brief silence, she accepted his proposal, her voice soft but resolute. The man's face lit up with joy, his eyes sparkling with hope. But before he could celebrate, Nilavanti held up his hand.
But there is one condition,
she said, her voice firm yet gentle.
What is it?
He asked, his tone laced with curiosity and a hint of worry. Nilavanti's gaze met his, serious and unwavering.
I will be your wife and fulfill all my responsibilities to you and our home. But you must never ask where I go at night, nor try to follow me or uncover what I do. At dawn, I will return and be yours entirely throughout the day.
The man was utterly captivated by the enchanting beauty of Nilavanti, feeling as though he was under a spell. Overwhelmed by his feelings, he agreed to her mysterious condition without hesitation. Just a few days later, they celebrated their marriage, stepping into a world filled with hope and joy. Every moment together felt like a dream, and their laughter echoed in their new home, painting a picture of happiness. Yet, a shadow loomed over their bliss. As per Neelavanti's stipulation, she would slip away into the night, leaving him alone in the dim light of their home. Each time she departed, a wave of unease washed over him, but he stayed true to his promise, resisting the urge to ask where she went. Nilavanti continued to wander into the forest each night, her heart a mixture of excitement and longing. In the hushed darkness, she reached out to the spirits and ghosts, hoping to uncover the secrets of the door to the realm from which she came. With each whispered conversation, she felt an increasing connection to her past, a deep yearning for the home she had lost. As she communed with the unseen, she began to record everything she learned from the birds, animals, trees, and spirits on the leaves of nearby trees. These writings were not mere notes. They were sacred texts, filled with wisdom that taught her how to speak the languages of all living beings and the spirits of the departed. In those delicate scripts, she poured her soul, documenting the insights she gathered from both the living and the spirits. Using this newfound language, Nilavanti could have unearthed hidden treasures, becoming extraordinarily wealthy overnight. Yet, her heart remained untouched by greed. Only thing she wished was to go back to her realm, her home. One dark night, as she was communicating with the trees, a devil suddenly appeared before her, shrouded in an eerie mist. A chill ran down her spine, but curiosity overcame her fear.
Who are you?
She asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The devil smirked, his eyes glinting with a strange knowledge.
I know who you are and what you seek. You possess incredible powers within you, powers you have not yet realized. I have been watching you for a long time, and today I have come to reveal the secret you crave. There is a magic door to another realm, but you must prove yourself worthy to pass through it. In the heart of the forest stands a great banyan tree. You must perform a spiritual practice beneath its sprawling branches, using a spell I will teach you. You may need to sacrifice your blood or the blood of an animal to the mighty fire. Only then will you be eligible, and I will return to guide you to the next step.
Soon the next moment the devil vanished into the dense fog, leaving her trembling with anticipation and fear. Driven by a mixture of determination and desperation, she followed the demon's instructions, seeking to uncover the depths of her hidden powers. Each night, she sat beneath the towering banyan tree, pouring her heart into her spiritual practice. She sacrificed animals and offered her own blood to the blazing fire, feeling the sting of each sacrifice pierce her soul. Despite the pain, there was a flicker of hope deep within her, a belief that her sacrifices would lead her home. As the days turned into nights, she felt the weight of her actions pressing down on her. Yet, on the other side of this dark journey, her married life was blissfully unchanged. Each dawn, as promised to her husband, she returned home. Her heart a battlefield of conflicting emotions. She wore a smile for him, and he remained blissfully unaware of the darkness she danced with under the banyan tree. Surprisingly, during the same time period, children in the town began to go missing. An extortion gang had become active, snatching kids from their homes and leaving families shattered and terrified. The townspeople were plunged into panic, their hearts heavy with fear as they launched frantic searches for the culprits, desperate to protect their loved ones. One night, while Nilavanti was immersed in her rituals as usual, the villagers approached the banyan tree, their anxiety palpable as they hunted for the kidnapping gang. It was a cruel twist of fate that brought them there. When they stumbled upon Nilavanti, engaged in her sacred practices, a wave of disbelief washed over them. The sight of her sacrificing animals and their blood sent chills down their spines. Fear transformed into suspicion. They began to whisper among themselves, their hearts racing with a growing sense of dread. They believed Nilavanti was a witch, a figure of dark magic performing sinister rituals. The thought that she might be responsible for the children's disappearances gripped them like a vice. Panic and outrage surged within them as they imagined the unthinkable, that she could be sacrificing innocent lives. Though Nilavanti stood there, innocent and unaware of their thoughts, the weight of the situation bore down heavily upon her. She had done nothing wrong, yet the evidence, or rather the lack of it, seemed to paint her as the prime suspect. The villagers, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty, remained silent, their eyes narrowing as they observed her. The air crackled with tension as they exchanged glances, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they were being drawn into a web of suspicion and fear. Finally, unable to confront her directly, they turned away, but their resolve was clear. They would keep a close watch on her. Their unease festering into a dark cloud of doubt that hung over the night, threatening to consume everything in its path. After the villagers left, the same devil who has met Nilavanti earlier appeared once again, shrouded in an unsettling aura. His presence sent a shiver down Nilavanti's spine, but she steadied herself. He laughed his evil smile and said,
"You have completed the necessary rituals to become eligible to pass through the magical door to another realm. Now the time has come to reveal the next step in your journey. Tomorrow night, at the same time, you must go to the nearby river. You will see a dead body floating in the stream, and on that body, a wristband will be tied around its wrist. You must remove that wristband. It will serve as your ticket to the other realm. After a while, you will see a boat approaching towards you. Hand the wristband to the boatman. He will allow you to board. From there, he will take you directly to the magical door leading to the realm you long to return to. But remember, this will be your first and last chance to reach your realm. If you miss this opportunity, you will be trapped in this world forever."
The weight of his words hung in the air, heavy with the gravity of her situation. With that, the devil vanished, leaving Nilavanti standing alone in the dark. Her heart pounding with a whirlwind of emotions. Joy and hope flooded her being, intermingling with anxiety and fear. This was it, her moment of reckoning. Her sacrifices and struggles were finally bearing fruit, and the prospect of reuniting with her true home filled her with a profound sense of purpose. Yet, the daunting task ahead loomed large, and she couldn't shake the nagging fear of failure. As she prepared for the night ahead, determination welled up inside her. She would not let this chance slip away. No matter the price, she would reclaim her place in the realm she had lost. The next day arrived, and Nilavanti eagerly awaited the night. Meanwhile, the villagers informed her husband about what they had witnessed the previous night. He was stunned by their revelations. Determined to uncover the truth, they decided to follow Nilavanti that evening and catch her in the act. Finally, the hour arrived. Nilavanti joyfully prepared herself and made her way to the riverbank. She settled quietly, waiting for the dead body to float by, just as the devil had told her. After a few hours, a body came drifting down the river, and she noticed a wristband tied around its wrist. The devil's words were coming true. With a mix of anticipation and anxiety, Nilavanti got to her feet and approached the lifeless form, intent on removing the wristband. However, it was tied so tightly that she struggled to loosen it. In desperation, she began to use her teeth to bite through the bindings. Unbeknownst to her, the villagers had followed Nilavanti and were watching her from a distance. When they saw her trying to remove the wristband with her teeth, they believed she had killed a human and was now feasting on the body. This scene solidified their conviction that Nilavanti was a witch, the sole reason for the disappearance of the children, even though she was not involved in any wrongdoing. Fueled by anger and fear, the villagers marched toward her, their eyes ablaze with vengeance. Their only thought was to kill this witch before she could destroy the entire town. In the midst of this chaos, Nilavanti's husband, who had been watching from a distance, felt a surge of panic. When he saw the villagers advancing to harm his wife, he quickly stepped out from his hiding place and rushed to her side. He forcefully pulled her away from the body and hid behind the bushes, shielding her from the villagers' sight. Nilavanti began pleading with her husband, desperation etched across her face.
Please, please let me go. If I miss this chance, I will be trapped in this world forever. I don't belong here. I need to return to my realm, the realm I came from, the realm where I truly belong.
Her voice trembled with fear, each word heavy with longing and urgency. But a shocking truth was about to unfold. Her husband, who had appeared to her as an ordinary man, suddenly transformed into a fearsome devil. Nilavanti felt the ground shift beneath her heart pounding in disbelief and terror as she stared at the monstrous figure before her. With a voice that resonated like thunder, the devil spoke.
I know you don't belong in this world, and this is your only chance to go back. If you want to seize this opportunity, you must give me what I want, and I will let you go.
Nilavanti stammered, her heart racing as panic surged within her.
I will give you anything you desire. Just let me leave.
Her words were a frantic plea, laced with desperation and fear. The devil's eyes glinted with malice.
I need the book, the script you have written. The one containing the knowledge of how to communicate with all living beings and the dead.
In that moment, dread washed over her like a cold wave. She saw the greed flickering in his eyes, and a chilling realization struck her. If she surrendered the script, he would wield its power to manipulate the living and the dead, plunging the world into chaos and despair. A wave of nausea swept through her as she grappled with the choice before her. Refusing meant eternal entrapment, while giving in meant risking the very fabric of existence. With a heavy heart, torn between loyalty and fear, she whispered the details of where the script was hidden, each word a painful sacrifice. The devil's expression twisted into a grin, satisfaction gleaming in his eyes as he absorbed her confession. He nodded and released her from his grasp before vanishing into the shadows, leaving her reeling with confusion and sorrow. Nilavanti didn't waste a second. She rushed toward the riverbank, her heart pounding with hope and dread. But when she arrived, her stomach dropped. The body was no longer where she had left it, and the boat had vanished without a trace. Despair gripped her as the cold truth washed over her. She had missed her one and only chance to return home. A wave of anguish crashed over her, and she fell to her knees, overwhelmed by the weight of her failure. Now, she was trapped in this world forever, a prisoner of her own choices, haunted by the knowledge that she would never see her true home again. A tempest of fury surged within her, igniting her eyes with a burning red glow that reflected her inner turmoil. Nilavanti felt the weight of betrayal pressing down on her chest, a crushing realization dawning upon her. She had lost her one chance to return to her realm because of her husband, the devil who had only ever wanted the scripts for himself. Overwhelmed by her rage, she raised her arms as if to cast the very fury of the heavens upon the scripts that had become the source of her anguish. Her voice rang out, fierce and defiant.
Because of these scripts, I have missed my only opportunity to return home. The insatiable greed for these words is the very reason I am now trapped in this wretched world forever.
Her heart raced as she spoke, each word fueled by the fire of her emotions.
I curse this script. Whoever reads it with greed in their heart will find themselves ensnared by my spell. Those who dare to read it halfway will be driven mad by their own desires. And whoever reads it to the end will face a death that will remain unexplained.
With those final, haunting words, a chill swept through the air, and she felt a sense of relief mixed with despair. Nilavanti vanished into the shadows, becoming a ghost in her own right, lost to the world she once knew. To this day, whispers circulate among the villagers, claiming she still roams the depths of the forest, forever cloaked in anonymity. They say she hides her true identity, a tragic soul forever trapped in this realm, a silent guardian of the very scripts that bound her fate. Years drifted by like leaves caught in the wind, and somehow, the ancient scripts found their way into the hands of a humble sage. He was a man devoid of greed, with a heart full of compassion and wisdom. As he read through the fragile pages, he felt the weight of the words, knowing they held both power and peril. With reverence, he translated the entire script into a language that everyone could understand. This labor of love gave birth to the Nilavanti Granth, a book that shimmered with promise. Within its pages lay secrets that could unlock the language of birds, trees, animals, and even spirits. It offered ordinary humans the tantalizing possibility of uncovering hidden truths and the allure of riches that could come overnight. Yet, even in its translated form, the shadow of the curse lingered ominously. Those who approached the book with greed in their hearts faced dire consequences. Madness or an untimely, inexplicable death awaited them. As the years slipped away, reports of misfortune linked to the book began to multiply, sending tremors of fear through the community. Investigations turned up nothing conclusive, only deepening the sense of dread that surrounded the Nilavanti Granth. Finally, in a desperate bid to protect its citizens, the government of India made the agonizing decision to ban the book nationwide. It could no longer be printed in any language or sold across the country. Despite the advancements of the modern world, the secrets of the Nilavanti Granth lay buried, shrouded in mystery and fear. If you were given the chance to read this forbidden book, would you dare to uncover its secrets, knowing the risks that lie within?